Begin transmission. Hello, everybody. It is Ben and Chris here with Outer Rim Transmission. This is episode 213 of the podcast, and we are continuing our journey through Star Wars Visions Volume 3. With tonight, we are talking about the episodes 4 through 6, which are The Bounty Hunters by Wit Studios, Yuko's Treasure by Kinema Citrus, as well as The Lost Ones by Kinema Citrus. So, yes, buckle up. It's going to be a good discussion tonight, as it always is. But Ben, how's it going?
Good, good. Just another good week. Looked outside this morning and it looked like Hoth. We got a bunch of snow last night,
What?
actually. Yeah, we got an inch and a half overnight.
Holy.
Yeah, I woke up because when you wake up when it snows out, like your room is really bright. And I woke up and I was like, "What in the world?" It's only 7:30 in the morning, and my room was like bright, bright. And I opened up my curtains and completely just snowed everywhere. And then we're supposed to get some more snow tonight, so yeah, it might just get even more snowier. And then the crazy part about this time of year, as you know, being in this part of the country, Chris, like the end of this week, it's supposed to be 65.
Ah!
So it's like, okay. So yeah, it's gonna be hot for the next couple days. So that's been fun. But yeah, I've been good otherwise. Just just getting ready for the holiday seasons. We got Thanksgiving in a couple weeks, and of course Christmas, figuring out gifts, figuring out
Yeah.
different like Star Wars things. Potentially get like my nieces because they still, of course, they love Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda and Darth Vader are their two favorites. So
Wow,
I'm probably
it's
gonna get them
crazy.
something along those lines.
You go
Oh
from
yeah,
like the
like
darkest character in Star Wars to like the most cheerful like bundle of joy.
yep. The funny story about that is like it's great to see how like kids are with Star Wars because my 4-year-old niece, she loves Baby Yoda because like she's 4 and chatty and everything, and she loves Baby Yoda because he's so cute. But it's my 2.5-year-old niece. She's the one that really loves Darth Vader. She's always like walking around holding him, going, "This is the mean guy in Star Wars," and like she's always so excited to like play with Darth Vader's figure. Because I gave her one of my extra like Vader Black Series figures because I have like a million of them from gifts over the years. Um, so yeah, so she loves that. So that I guess that is kind of my week in Star Wars, just like more Star Wars interactions like with my nieces and stuff, because they really like it a lot in terms like some of the characters. And the funniest thing too, so my other than Vader, guess Baby Yoda really isn't even my 2.5-year-old niece's favorite character. So Chris, she her favorite character is the most obscure character. It's like it's a Black Series figure I got. She always carries it around. It's like this like hooded spooky looking figure from the Solo movie. Like it's like a villain character. I don't remember who it was.
Is it
But
Malik?
oh yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, Malik. Yeah, she loves that character. I
What
don't know
the
why.
hell?
Yeah.
She likes the Grindelid Malik. The
Yeah,
same
that's her
guy as
favorite.
the white worm type of thing. It's like,
Yep.
what?
Yeah, she's always carrying around Vader and Malik. And I'm like, all right, these are some interesting choices for a 2.5-year-old girl, but okay.
That is awesome. She already likes one of the Glupshitos, as they call them online. Just the random people in
Yep.
the background. I mean, he's not just a random person in the background. He does have more of a story point in the story point in the show itself, in the movie itself, but still,
Yeah.
well, he is a very side character. But hey, she's learning well, like we all did. I had a Dengar figure I was dragging around when I was a kid. So guy
Yep.
never even had any lines in Star Wars, and yet I was like, this guy looks cool. I'm gonna just
Yeah.
play around with him as the figure. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's great to see just that younger generation get more and more
Yep,
introduced to Star Wars and things and stuff like that. Just because
sure.
nowadays so many people are like always just on their tablets and phones and everything versus like playing with figures and toys and whatnot. So I definitely really like having that when it comes to my nieces and everything. Just because I mean honestly, you see a lot. I don't want to sound like a 32-year-old complaining about kids cartoons, but a lot of the kids' cartoons are kind of shaky compared to some of the ones from back in the day. So it's just like it's nice to see like the kids gravitating toward like Star Wars and like the other favorite thing the other favorite it's if it's not those three Star Wars characters I mentioned, their other favorite thing right now is they love the Spidey and Friends show. I think it's on Netflix or whatever. I don't know. But it's like a little kid Spider-Man and Captain America show that's on right now. So that's their other big thing. But but yeah, so it's just good seeing like the kids get introduced into like some of the pop culture all of us like.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. It's I bring this up every once in a while as well. It's like, okay, the kids are not doing the stuff that we were doing as kids. Like what's going wrong here? What's going wrong here? So to see,
Yeah.
again, to see that your niece is keeping the dream alive is a good thing.
Oh yeah, they love it. So it's always great seeing them play around with those toys and they just have a good time with it. Like if it's not that, they're always carrying around my Disney parks Skywalker lightsaber, they love that thing. So so yeah, it's a really good time and I just like I don't know, it's fun. It's fun. Like, everyone knows how it is. Like when you introduce Star Wars to other people, whether it be kids or other adults or anybody in between, it's just great getting to like see their interactions with it and like see how they get to liking it and stuff like that. So so yeah, I think that's a it's just a good thing and it's a good thing this time of year because I feel like Star Wars even though it came out during the summer way back in the day, to me it's always feels like kind of like a holiday type IP.
Yeah, you get your stuff for Christmas. You're playing with it. In my case, I have a Star Wars Christmas tree with all ornaments. So there's a lot of correlations there. You can make the connections for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How
Yeah.
was your weekend Star Wars?
Uh,
Anything interesting happen over your way?
just passing thoughts. So I was on my phone, um, looking at some apps I haven't used, and I was like, oh my gosh, I still have Star Wars Hunters on my phone. And I was like, okay, this is it. So I took a screenshot, loading screen. I tried to actually start the game. It was just like an endless loading cycle because, as we all know, like the game shut down, I think like 2 months ago or a month ago or something like
Yep.
that. So it's like, all right, it was nice playing you, but that's it. And I just deleted it. So yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame to see a game fail. It really is. And it's unlike any other Star Wars game because all the other Star Wars games are single player. So even if like monetarily they fail, like you could still play them. But in this case, it's an ever living game, or it was an ever living game. So it's like okay, they're not going to keep paying for the servers that go online, and well, that's what you're left with, and that's why it's a big deal in the gaming sphere. A lot of these, always online games. People when they hear they get announced, they're automatically screaming for an offline mode because they know that this stuff happens all the time. You want to make
Yep.
sure that you can somehow play this game to a certain degree, even after if the servers, God forbid, go offline indefinitely. Um, so it's a shame. It's a shame. We've been over this game many times, but it was a bittersweet moment. But we hopefully we get another thing to replace it, multiplayer wise in the future. There's got to
Oh
be.
yeah. Oh yeah, I feel that. I mean, when it comes to games like that, like you said, if you don't have an offline campaign, I mean, the game has an expiration immediately as soon as it's launched
Hmm.
because you don't know when it's going to lose its popularity or anything. So, that is one unfortunate thing about that about gaming like that. I was going to say though, one one place it will turn for both of us at least. We have a week in Star Wars coming up is we both have Master of Evil coming out this week on Tuesday, which I pre-ordered that. That was another like bonus, I guess, week in Star Wars I
Same.
was going to bring up. I pre-ordered the Master of Evil audiobook for Tuesday, and I can't wait for that just because it's Vader, it's that post for Revenge of the Sith timeline, and it's the first like canon iteration of that direct story because we had that in Legends. The Legends book took place like 5 or 6 weeks after episode 3. So it's going to be great getting like the canon version and just I always love Audible and everything that they do with the Star Wars novels and whatnot. And like I messaged you, and just a little heads up for our listeners, if you want to get a deal on Audible, like if you haven't signed up for it or if you haven't been on there in a while, like right now they have a deal where it's only $1 per month for the next 3 months, which is a steal
Whoa.
compared to paying $16 a month like it normally is.
Oh,
So it's a great deal. So that's why I ended up doing it. And it's nice. So got the Vader book ready to go. And hopefully I'm gonna try to speed listen to it this week and just finish
okay.
it up before next week because it said it's like 15 and a half hours.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I can do that before next Sunday because it's just a couple hours per day when I'm working out or whatever. I can knock it out, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna try to knock that entire book out before next Sunday.
I should be able to finish it. I actually just pre-ordered it today through Amazon hardcover book. It says it's only like
Nice.
384 pages. I'm like, oh, that's chump change, man. No offense, Adam
Mm.
Christopher. Like, I'm sure it's got a lot of depth and all, but I'm used to the latest Star Wars books have been closer to 500. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be quite easy for me to breeze through as well. I'll do 150, maybe even 200 pages a day and be done by Sunday, hopefully. And
Yep.
this could be the first for the podcast where we actually have a pseudo book review on the podcast where two of us have read the book. So that'll be great.
Yeah.
That'll be great. Hopefully it all comes together. But yeah, I'm prioritizing everything. I shifted everything hobby wise to the wayside until I finish the book. That'll be the priority. So there we go. There we go. Yeah, looking forward to that for sure. Definitely going to be a good one. So the only thing that came out this week was Legacy of Vader, issue number 10, which is a big one. I created both a YouTube short for this one as well as an actual regular YouTube review. This is the big one. It actually has Luke Skywalker sort of taunting Kylo Ren through the Force, which is something that we knew we wanted because he had said at the end of The Last Jedi. So, yes, for your information, this does take place after The Last Jedi, where Luke is already dead. So that promise has been fulfilled through this comic book. And so I go over it. Me and Matthew go over it on our podcast over on the Star Wars Underworld on Tractor Beam on Wednesday. We went over it. So it's definitely a flashpoint. I see the bigger trades out there like IGN and some other websites picked it up because when something that big happens, it's like, okay, the comics are hitting again. What is this journal saying? So I don't know if you've
Yep.
been around the web and seen any articles about that at all.
I haven't. The last few days I've been pretty busy personally. Just like yesterday, we did a super early Thanksgiving for my dad's side of the family. So I was busy all day yesterday, and then like the past few days before that, I just hadn't been on social media too much to see that. But that's cool that it was getting some publicity like that, just because like those type of stories draws people in just because it's Luke, it's Kylo, especially it's perfect timing, them dropping a Kylo Ren related thing right after that whole stuff with Ben Solo a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. So I yeah, good stuff. I mean, I can't wait to hear some of the details about it.
Oh yeah, that's the thing is that even Charles Soule, the writer of Legacy Vader, put out something interesting on social media saying is like, how do I make Kylo Ren happy? So obviously he's writing a new Kylo Ren, either novel or comic book, because we know that this one takes place for another 2 issues and it's over. It's only going to 12 issues. So that means he's been writing something new with more Kylo Ren. So even if we don't get this movie, seems like there's more Kylo Ren content in the pipe. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he does something. Maybe he does something. I mean, he might do something post episode 9. Him as like a dealing with like entering like the Force Ghost realm or something. I don't
Ooh.
know.
Yeah, like Qui Gon
Like
Jinn.
yeah, like finding some closure on like everything that he did, and maybe he interacts with Anakin's Force Ghost since he like was worshiping Vader so much early on. Like maybe he interacts with Anakin, and it's kind of like like how Ahsoka was learning from Anakin during the Ahsoka show. Maybe it's something like that with Kylo and Anakin, and maybe they do something along those lines potentially.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Keep going. Me and Matthew go over this on other podcasts almost weekly. It's like, how does Lucasfilm feel about getting the comic creators to kind of push the envelope? It never really happens, and it seems like Charles Soule, he would be the person to do it because he is actually one of their like creative correspondents. So he has a little bit more weight than just the average comic book writer over there. So if anybody's going to be given the keys to the kingdom, it would be him. Uh, so we'll see. We'll see. The comics are in flux a little bit. It's like we a lot of these series are ending, but we don't have announcements of anything new. So it's like by the time February rolls around, it's like okay, we're gonna have like one or two Dark Horse comics, and that's it. So I
I
don't know
mean,
what's going on at Marvel over there, but I'm getting kind of concerned.
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the comic side of things, the book side of things, we have some books coming out, whatever, TV and movies. We have the bit of projects that we know of, but like after, I mean, 2 years from like, Marvel and DC, like we know like a lot of the future stuff for those properties. Star Wars after Ahsoka season two and the Dave movie essentially and Starfighter, like we don't know any of the like ancillary projects. We don't
Yeah.
know any more TV shows. We don't know any more books. We don't know any more comics. We've heard little bits and things about some video games here and there, but nothing concrete. So it's just like I genuinely don't know what the future of Star Wars is after the next, say, 24 months or even
Yeah.
or even 18 months. It's crazy like to think about because I feel like sometimes like with you, Chris, like with some of the comics and books and stuff, you'd be like rattling off, oh, here's all the books and comics coming out in 2023 or or whatever. And now it's just like I don't know, it's crazy to see where we're at. Like maybe they're just like trying to shift the direction of some of the storytelling to like maybe to solidify more, like we mentioned before about a lot of the Mando and Ahsoka stuff, and these things are getting used to strengthen the sequels,
Yeah.
in theory. So, like, maybe a lot of their initiative is like pushing more of storytelling around that timeline, the sequel era, either before or after, just to continue to strengthen it.
Yeah, the thing is, buddy of the show has been on the show before, Joel Davis.
Yep.
He put it today, actually. That was pretty much right on. He said 2025 for Star Wars is like the transitional period. Like it really does feel like I mean,
Yep.
maybe I wouldn't say completely because Andor came out. And Andor was like this wildly successful, really awesome show for Star Wars that kind of like revitalized the fandom a little bit. Everybody was like really just positive around it, and it really blew up, and it was awesome. But other than Andor, it has seemed to be that way. Like, okay, the comics are kind of playing it safe. The books have been really, really good though. But it's like, okay, High Republic's over. It's what's going on. So it feels like maybe they're taking a step back a little bit and going, all right, let's recoup 2025. We'll just play things safe, and then we'll have all these plans. And are they going to make us wait? Because like talk about the furthest thing out. The furthest thing out on a schedule would be Ahsoka season two. No. Would be Starfighter, which is 2027, which would be coming out, what, like around like a week or so after Celebration? Isn't it
Yeah,
coming
the
out in
year of
May?
celebration.
Oh, no,
It's
no, no. A
coming
month
out.
after. Celebration's on April 1st, and then that movie's coming
That's
out
like
like the end of May.
yeah, it's like
So,
May 20 something.
the question is, can Disney like really afford to wait all the way until like 2 years from now to like tell us the roadmap? Like, are they gonna actually make us wait that long to be like, here's the full slate? You guys have been waiting since Japan to figure this out. They can't possibly make us wait that long, right? I mean, because other than that, we know we have a game, we know we have some simple stuff, but it does seem eerily quiet.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. I do think it is. I mean, that's a nice way to phrase it that Joel said, it being kind of like a transition period, but it is because, we're transitioning to more of this kind of around the sequel era, and even like the Mando stuff. That's you know people don't want to hear it, but it's being used to strengthen the sequel era. You know what I mean? Like it's leading up to the events of the sequels. So like you have that, you have Ahsoka, you have all these things where it's like they're formulating their plan that way. And then also, now I think part of this too, it's an overlooked thing that we talked about it a lot last year when everything became official. But like when Dave took over chief creative officer at Lucasfilm, of course, initially you're not going to come in and just like, obviously you're not going to dead stop hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects for your own vision. So, I mean, this could be a transitionary period for him in terms of guiding the company in terms of where he wants to take it, where he views like, hey, maybe we could do this. I mean, because, even though people don't like to hear it, I mean, Dave is close with Kathy and everything. And I could see him trying to do right by her by like helping prop the sequels up more and, trying to make good projects around the sequels to do what he did for George essentially back in the day. Um, so I think some of this transition period could be part of Dave just formulating his plan. Because, when Feige came in and took over Marvel, he had his grand plan all laid out pretty much. And Dave, we haven't really seen like the grand scheme plan. Like when he got this position, it was more of like in the middle or at the beginning of this transition already happening. So it's just like I think that's part of it as well, is just like, we're getting into that guiding period of like where Dave is thinking, where to take the company.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the update, everybody. That's the update. But you're all listening. You tuned in. You want to know about Star Wars Visions Volume 3. And, well, I got a lot to say. I know Ben has a lot to say. We're talking, again, about 3 episodes. And we're also going to talk again next week about the final 3 episodes of all 9 will have been talked about and discussed by next week. But we're going to jump into chronological order. The first one here that we got to, and that is episode 4, The Bounty Hunters by Wit Studios. I'll let you start off with this one. What was your thoughts on this one, man?
All right. I honestly like this one. I thought it was pretty good. I I don't know. It to me, I will say this to start off right off the bat. I don't think any of these 3 episodes are as good as the first or third episode from last week. I will say that. But this episode to me falls in the category of what the second episode was. I think it was a good, solid episode of Star Wars Visions. As I mentioned last week about the second episode, it's my easiest example is always going to be the Jawa Mandalorian episode because it's just a good solid episode. And to me, this is another Jawa Mandalorian episode. It was a good, solid episode of Star Wars Visions. I think the action was good. I liked. I just liked. They had some of the typical Star Wars beats as you'd expect, like when the bad guy like takes out the droid and then the droid really didn't die
Yeah.
and like all this stuff. Like to me that was kind of like right up the alley of Star Wars comedy. Like I could see George like getting a chuckle out of something like that. Like so that's where like when people like kind of harp on some of the comedy in Star Wars, I think like, all right, I think this is something George would like because I feel like that episode would be an episode George would like because of like, the little comedy from the droid faking his death and then like, them getting the jump on the bad guy and everything. Like I thought that was really good and clever. So yeah, that was kind of like my first initial take of it. A good solid episode.
Yeah, I watched this episode about 3 times now.
Yep.
I
It's really
guess you could.
enjoyable.
I watched it once in Japanese, twice in English, and I watched the third time was earlier tonight, before we recorded, just to keep myself fresh with what happened. But yeah, I think this is actually a great episode. I think this is really cool because it does like this kind of like fake out moment in the beginning where like you're thinking that they're going to be positioning the Jedi in the flashback as like an evil person, like a dark Jedi, like, oh man. And that's another thing, right? while it does have a Jedi, and this is going to be said about the next episode as well, we'll talk about Yuko's treasure. These two episodes do a great job of not relying on the Force, not relying on Jedi, and I appreciate that because so much of the stuff always is about that with Star Wars Vision. So it gives us a tale of something else. Obviously, the bounty hunters. Yeah, the animation style is fine. I think that's probably the weakest link for me. I didn't really
I agree.
appreciate the animation style all that much, but what I will say I enjoyed, same, I'm going to echo myself just I did 20 seconds ago. The droids in this episode and the next episode were great. This episode, like the idea of a droid having a split personality, like, we've never seen that before in Star Wars. We've seen plain cranky droids like Chopper, but we haven't actually had like a droid like just like change itself over from medical droid to like an assassin droid. And the English voice just cracked me up because he sounds a little bit like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Did you notice that?
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that. And it's funny that you bring that up because now that I think about that too, like, I mean, why in Star Wars? Like, it is a genuine question. Why in Star Wars couldn't you have a medical droid capably be able to just to flip a switch and be a war droid? You know what I mean? That is like
Yeah.
that is a question that this episode rises to like the greater Star Wars universe. Like really, like why couldn't C-3PO, a protocol droid, why couldn't he like go full blown assassin droid mode? Like what's stopping him? It's just like a digital file to change his programming. You know what I mean? Like so that is kind of like a pin note to keep in mind for like the wider Star Wars universe.
I mean, the closest we got to that was the Rise of Skywalker when C-3PO like got
Yep.
the red eyes and started going, you know. So
Yep.
that's the part there that we got close to that. But carrying off of that point, just the idea of this character named Seven making the choice. This is very much, a lot of these things kind of rhyme. A lot of these visions, obviously, they're paying homage to Star Wars, so we're gonna see some of those cycles coming back. So it did remind me a little bit of like the Mandalorian, right? Where he goes in, he's trying to deliver Grogu, and he has a change of heart, and blah blah blah. Same thing here. We're dealing with some pretty dark stuff, right? This megalomaniac CEO corporate guy is like just using these poor children as like slave labor, and it's great to see this character says like, hey, I could be set for life. Like, here's my alternative. I could be set for life and have all this money, never have to worry about anything, have a cushy job and all this stuff. Or I can be thinking with morality and ethics and no, this is wrong. And I think that level, that element was really powerful, and it shows that like everybody can make a choice. Doesn't matter who you are. You go by your instincts and you go by your gut. If something doesn't feel right, you should act on it. And I really appreciate that message that was displayed pretty good in this episode.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it was really good that they did that. And it's I think the best part about Visions is like this sort of stuff because genuinely though, Chris, the way Visions is, they could have had the main bounty hunter just be bad and like, cash out. Like because, Visions, we really don't know where they're going with the story on any of these episodes. So like it's good to get a surprise of, oh yeah, we can end off on a good note like this versus like a bad note, or maybe the next episode could be a bad note and a good note or whatever. Like, so that's what I'm really liking about this in general. Is it's giving us more unpredictability than it does with any of the movies or shows because these are standalone episodes, so we just you don't know where it's going to go. So I really liked um, what they did here with that, and then also I do think overall though the voice acting for this episode was really good. I did only
Yeah.
watch the English. I only watched the English version, but everybody, all the voice actors were really really good for it. I really liked the cast that was involved in this one.
Oh yeah, that definitely is another a highlight for me as well. Going back to the villain, the CEO guy, brought me right
Yep.
back to Alien Earth. Did you ever watch that? Did you end up watching Alien Earth?
Yep. Yep.
That guy that's in charge of Wayland, or not Wayland, the opposite of Wayland, starts with a P. whatever that name of that
Yeah,
organization
I'm
was that
so bad
took
on
control of the
noise
ship.
on names.
But anyway, so it's like that same kind of guy kind of reminds me of a little bit of the character Lex Luthor that's played by what's his face in Batman v Superman, Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse
Like he
Eisenberg. Yep.
gave me that kind of like sicko kind of feeling,
Yep.
which was it was interesting. We're not dealing with the Empire. We're not dealing with the Emperor. We're not dealing with the Sith. We're dealing with something that is very close to home that we can see reflected in our own reality. There's no Sith Lords. The evil people in this world are a lot of them are these crazy people that have lost touch with the reality with how rich they've gotten. Uh,
Yeah.
so that was great to see that. And one final thing is just how cool it is with they mentioned separatists. The guy's literally riding in a droid deka, and they straight up take the thing from the Onderon arc of season 5 of the Clone Wars. We're throwing rolling slowly. The thermal detonator is able to take the thing out. So I thought that was fantastic. Like way to go. And then on top of that, you got the droid coming in straight out of A New Hope with Han Solo, just like coming back. He has that heart of gold. He could be set for life, and he changes his mind because his partner. That's just pure Star Wars, as you put it. Pure Star Wars here.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I have to echo all those points. I really think they were all strong points of the episode. And yeah, to me, that immediately falls, pushes the episode right into the category of like episodes that are really rewatchable for Visions.
Yeah,
Because you have episodes of a lot of these shows, whether it be Clone Wars, like Clone Wars, I can always go back to the Umbara arc because I think it's fantastic. Or like Ahsoka, you can pick out good episodes from her show, or Mando. Mando, you can do the same. And I think this episode is another one of those episodes of Visions where, like, hey, if you're compiling a list of season 1 to 3 of Visions of like, I don't know, 15 episodes to
yeah.
watch, this is one of them easily.
Oh yeah. So if I were to give this one a score, I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I think it's good. As I mentioned to open it, I think it's a good, solid episode, and for me, like that type of vibe, it's about an 8 out of 10.
There we go. Moving on to Kinema Citrus actually got a chance to be able to do two different shorts, which is awesome. This is Yuko's Treasure. I will open up with this one. Man, I freaking love this one. This one, man, has the most heart. Other than the Ninth Jedi, the Chosen One, or whatever, the Child of Hope, this one has like the most heart. Matter of fact, man, this one brought a tear to my eye both times I watched it. Like this, and I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm like you said, before we recorded, like I don't know if this was Star Wars Resistance or what it was, and I'm like, that's where it really worked for me because it brings back first of all, so there's so many elements of this show of this little thing that hit me just the right way, and maybe it's positioned to be just perfect for me to get resonate with it as much as it did, but right off the rip, it's like it gives me that Pokemon series nostalgia. Like the way the animation is, the way the characters are designed, like so otherworldly and like they're so expressions. I will say about this episode is the expressions that the artists are able to depict on these characters is probably the best out of any of these episodes, in my opinion, because the tears welling up and just the way they go like the crazy rocket power type antics of the villains, and it just really hits home like, oh, this is great. Starting from the top though is like we're on Tatooine. This is the only one I believe that is on a familiar planet that we actually know. And they go to the bear. His name is Billy, right? I think the bear's name is Billy, the
Yep.
bear droid. And that thing is so cute, by the way. Like I know I give Jackson so much hate for being like an earthy kind of character in Star Wars, but like I'm fine with this bear droid becoming canon, man. I would love to see somebody like in a future movie or TV show live action be like, I was inspired by Star Wars Visions, Yuko's Treasure. I had to put in the bear. and just see like a
Have,
9 foot
have Grogu
bear.
interact with it.
Oh my gosh, that would just be the best thing in Star Wars ever. That would be amazing. I'm losing a plot here, so tightening things back up here. I like seeing the depiction of Mos Eisley as we all know it in a very good rendering in this art style. I love the music. The music just talk about that part that gave me a tear to my eye at the end of it. If it wasn't for the music, I don't think it would hit me as hard, but it still was amazing that moment. But the music really carries this episode. Like I'll never forget it. Like it hits me that hard. Um, like Great Dragons. There's so many awesome stuff in here. I'm not gonna spoil it all yet. I'm gonna throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, for me, all right. Even though I will have to well, it's not even a caveat. So when I was watching this episode
Yeah.
yesterday, I genuinely I must have glanced down at my phone for 2 seconds just to read a text really quick. And I genuinely thought I accidentally flipped it over to Star Wars Resistance because I was like, what in the world? This like it feels like Star Wars, kind of like Star Wars Resistancy, like the animation, like I don't know, it was so different. And then like okay, I'm not like too much of a harsh critic on naming because like naming's whatever because like I don't know but like to me I didn't like the name Billy. That was kind of like really taking me out of it anytime they would say his name. But taking setting those things aside, I really did enjoy the episode as well, actually. I like you said, I thought it, hit the feels well. I liked seeing Moss Eisley in like their interpretation of it, I guess if that makes sense. Like just their style of it, I thought was cool. And yeah, just getting to see some of that imagery and yeah, I just thought it was a really good episode. I really liked it a lot, even though I mean, then again, I am a person who like I didn't mind Resistance either, so like I'll say that. So like me saying it reminded me of Resistance is not a bad critique. I'll have to say it like that. It's not a bad critique. It's a fine observation, but not a bad critique. So yeah, so for me, I thought it was a really good episode as well.
Yeah, it really channels for me
Yep.
the whole idea of Skeleton Crew. Like it really
That's
felt
a
a
good
lot
that's a good comparison. Yeah.
like these kids are walking around and they're befriending one another and they're going on this journey and there's these crazy pirate guys that look like one's a Twi'lek, one looks like a freaking wolf that are hunting them down and they're getting by the skin of their teeth and then they're finding a starship at the end and they're sailing away. Like it is almost not beat for beat for what Skeleton Crew is, but it has that spirit that show had. And I really love it. I really hope that these guys were inspired by that because again, Skeleton Crew is such a great show in my opinion, and I feel like most of us kind of forgot about it already because no one's talking about it. And that's just
Yep.
part of the problem with Lucasfilm is they just shuffle things along so quick and we don't get a chance to absorb it and really dive into it deep because then we're looking at the next thing. But that's a discussion for another day. But as far as like this, like where it really hit me like personally is like the relationship between the bear and Yuko, Billy, it's like he's caring for this character and he basically it's like this discussion of like, hey, we can move to another planet. We don't have to stay here. Like I know you're having a hard time like socializing with people and all that. And I'm like, it kind of hit me personally because at one point, like I got held back in kindergarten because I was like not being able to socialize and stuff. So I got held back a year and then I was able to actually excel. And it was the best thing my parents could ever do was to actually just be like, I'm not ready. So it kind of got me in that headspace of like, oh yes, like this is this kid. I can relate to this kid as being a little awkward and kind of being shy and all this kind of stuff. And then this idea of this other kid that doesn't have a family. And then through this trial and tribulation, like at the end of it, it's like this kid is saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna go my way," and then Yuko is like, "No, you're family. Like you're coming with us." And that's where I was like, "Oh man, that hit me so hard to feel." So I was just like, "Ooh," but the music is swelling and all this sort of thing. It's like that was beautiful, and I was like, this is a meaningful, like a deep character study in like how it is to build a friendship with somebody and going through these trials and coming out the other side. And then, I love how full circle this goes with the beginning of the episode going. Billy's like trying to find a present or a gift for Yuko because it's Yuko's birthday. And then at the end of it, they're flying away, the three of them in her ship, and Yuko's like, "This is the best birthday present I could have ever been given." And that's after after they had been able to see the parents in a hologram and have that moment
Yep.
and have that like kind of that full circle moment of like having the closure to like see the graves and all that sort of thing and the respect that Billy was like using like the broom to like sweep off the dust, like all those like little details. This is what I'm saying. Like this one, it seems like a stupid like zany Pokemon like romp story, but then it gets like the last 5 minutes like gets so impactful, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't ready for this. And I could feel the tears welling up, and I'm like, oh no, I was not ready for this. And then it ends, and I'm like, oh, that was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And that's what's so cool about Star Wars Visions, because you can get an episode about bounty hunters and this dude in a droid deka, and then the next episode you're talking about this guy going to Maz Eisley trying to sell his water, and next thing you know, he's getting embroiled into this whole thing of these guys trying to get this treasure for this kid. It's great, and this is why Visions is great, because it's these anthology episodes where you can really tackle different tones and themes of different things and have this kind of freedom that the creators might not otherwise have if they're dealing with like the continuity and the canon and all that sort of thing.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with like all those points you made. I think for me, you know, the big, the big, or the nice thing about this episode specifically, it's just like you mentioned, like the characters, like the way, you know, the way they interact with each other, you know, the overall, like to me, I think one important piece when it comes to like Star Wars Visions as a whole is the episodes that really shine are the episodes that can get from point A to point Z in the 25-minute allotted time for the episode versus it feeling like quickly rushed at the end to like wrap a story up. And to me, like honestly, this episode, and again, this is I don't want this to come off negative, but it's because it's a positive thing. To me, it felt like a quote unquote longer episode than what it was. Like it felt like a long episode, even though it was 25 minutes,
Yeah.
because like they put so much into it, you know, where it just like, you know, they could really, really tell the story, like in a really good way versus like, you know, it just being whatever for the first 20 minutes and then quickly wrapped up in the final 5 minutes. Like I think this was a nice episode from A to Z all around, in terms
Yeah.
of the story. And that's what works in, you know, the best episodes of Visions, they work that way. Like, look, like we said with episode 1 and 3 of this series and prior episodes of of the series as a whole, like the episodes that really work are the ones that can feel long, but that are a really good story from start to finish.
Oh yeah. When I was watching this episode earlier tonight, as the ship is sailing off and they're gonna go on another adventure, as much
Yep.
as I would like to see that other adventure, I said, no, this story ends now. And if it never gets picked up on, this is a perfect ending. I think, like you said, like
Yep.
25 minutes, they told their story they wanted to tell from start to finish. There's no guesses in between there. I feel satisfied. I feel fulfilled. And I'm going to keep going back and watching this thing. Like, I will watch this every once in a while because, like I said, this one really hits personally to me. And it's just so cool to get this story that both is nostalgic to me as like a Pokemon fan. Like I really see that animation is just like the antics of those villains, and then the more deeper stuff as well, which is great. And the idea of that creature, I think that's actually a Great Dragon, dude. Because remember a
I
couple
thought it,
weeks ago, like we had seen that preview of that art book, and it was like a Great Dragon with legs, and I went, "What the hell? We never seen that." So I'm thinking that was literally a Great Dragon, which is like, hey, more bonus points. We got to see a Great Dragon with legs. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought it was. I paused it. I thought it might be that just because like what else would it be? It's Tatooine. Like you said,
Yeah,
we've seen the art, so I think that has to be a crate dragon. I would say it's like a 97% chance that
yeah,
is.
yeah. This one's getting a 9.5 from me. I mean, I'm sure there's something I could find about it that I don't like, but like right now I can't think of anything. So it's like it's getting a 9.5 for me. This so far is up there with the duel. It's up there for me with the Ninth Jedi one as well.
Yeah. To me, I think I'm around the same ballpark. To me, I had it as a 9.2. I
Woo.
thought yeah, I thought to me so far through the first 5 episodes, to me it's the uh the duel, then the Ninth Jedi, and then this episode,
Yeah.
and then the first episode or the fourth episode, and then the second episode. Like I think it's kind of in that, it's definitely top three for this season so far.
Yeah. And that brings us to our last one that we'll be talking about tonight, which is a continuation of The Village Bride from Volume 1. This is also by Kinema Citrus. This is The Lost Ones. It picks up on the story of F. What were your initial thoughts on this one, Ben?
Well, I was surprised they continued this because I honestly didn't know they were continuing that story. Um, I only thought they were continuing the duel in the Ninth Jedi, so it was a nice surprise actually, because I didn't mind the first Village Bride episode. So I thought to me, I thought it was good, but I also felt like since I just didn't um since I haven't watched that episode in so long, I felt like I wished I would have gone back and rewatched it just to like, kind of recontextualize and get back into like this universe, I guess I would say, or this like whatever, this timeline or whatever you want to call this. Um so I do think there was that, but I thought it was a good I thought it was a good episode. Like to me, this episode, the visuals were really good in it. I really liked them a lot. I thought they were very good. The music was kind of forgettable. I don't really, the music didn't stand out too much to me in it. Um, but yeah, to me overall, I think it was just more of it was a fine episode, I would say. Like to me, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't what I was looking for per se. It was just fine.
Wow, we are on the same page tonight, my friend. We
Like
are on the
like you know what I mean?
same
It's
page
just
tonight. I watched this one again like two and a half times. The second time I tried to watch in Japanese, I fell asleep, and that tells you everything.
yeah.
This one was a bore. I hate to say it. This one really it didn't have energy. I just couldn't get into it, man. And it's a shame because I really liked The Village Bride from Volume 1. And I think I know why. The Village Bride, it seemed like it took a step into like that Japanese culture, but like infused with Star Wars because they were out in like the natural beauty of this landscape with all the beautiful colors, the vibrant forest, and everything, and the water flowing, and this culture of this tribe, and these people are gonna get married, and this whole idea of this idea of the culture and the way that the heritage resolves around this village, and then like the battle droids and stuff. And this one took the character and like stripped away all of that. Like you're on a spaceship that's gray. You're on a star destroyer. It feels like they're trying to make a play off of A New Hope because you have the one character that's like in the background doing different things, and she's dueling with this master where I felt no emotion at all. It just felt heartless. And which interesting is like the whole concept of this episode is like the life force of a planet is being like stripped away by this
Yep.
like different kind of storm. So it kind of goes hand in hand. It's like it feels that way for me, both thematically and as well as like how this story is going. I
Yep.
liked the idea of like the carbon. I thought that was really cool. And at first, I thought they were making a play on the High Republic because in the High Republic, There's this thing called the blight, which is like a lack of the force, and it's going around. It's like destroying everything, making it turn gray and dissolving into like dust. And at first, I was like, "Ooh, they're playing around with this." And still, it's cool that we're getting a natural disaster in Star Wars. Bad Batch had that on Pabo with the big tsunami that hit, but we often don't get to see something of that magnitude. So I thought that was really cool. Another positive out of this is I like the kind of philosophy that F is talking about with the students. She's very wise, very patient, and as a Jedi, she's a really good fit. Even though her master's like you left the Jedi Order and all this sort of thing. It's interesting because even at one point, I believe they mentioned Master Yoda.
Yep.
So
I'm pretty sure they did.
yeah, it's like it's interesting because like I don't think any of the other ones ever mention a specific character. So in their eyes, it's like, could this kind of be canon continuity a little bit? Because like there's nothing in here that really could dispute that, I guess. Because they talk about
Yep.
the old war and all this stuff and whatnot. But anyway, I thought that was just an interesting tidbit there. But I mean, I can't really think of anything else that I can write home with about this one because and the way it ends, it just kind of ends. There wasn't a lot of spectacle or anything like that. So it was just fine. I agree. It was just a fine episode.
Yeah. I think to piggyback off that point, I think the best part of the episode was it kind of being thrown into the continuity kind of, because like you said, there really isn't anything in this episode that like breaks whatever we call canon now, So like it's not like, so you can kind of like be like, hey, this is a new story added into Star Wars, but like I don't know, it just like you said, it's ironic the whole life force sucking storm. This episode, like you said, it just didn't really have life in it because, like, even last night when I was watching it, you mentioned you dozed off when you were watching the other version. Normally for me, when I watch Star Wars, anything new Star Wars, always shut all the lights off in the dark, just locked in. And I was watching this last night. I was watching it last night, catching up on Visions last night at like 11 o'clock. I was just gonna watch from 11 to midnight and then go to bed. And I got to this episode. It's like, man, I am actually getting tired. So what I did was I turned on the overhead light in our living room and just watched it with the light on because I was like, I have to keep myself awake because I am actually tired watching this. So it was just kind of like, I don't know. It's just not one of those. Like I said, it's fine,
Yeah,
but it's definitely not in the 15 episodes I'd rewatch on just a casual rewatch list. That's for sure.
same. I as much as I think it's just would I watch another one of this? Yes, I would. Because I like the Village Bride so much. I just think that this was maybe a misstep. It was a misstep. I
I
don't know.
think
Like
I
if
think
they
this
put it on
episode
a
would work.
planet, like again, they put it on a cool planet and discover like the idea of the Force in a cool environment, not just on a. It felt another thing. It felt very sterile. Like this felt very
Yeah.
much like sterile kind of experience, very pristine. It was just like too much like that. I don't know.
You know, this episode would work if this was the middle part of a three-part arc of like if you had the Village Bride, this, and then a third episode as a pseudo finale. I think it would work a lot better as like more of a middle transitionary episode than it being its own standalone thing to try to stand on its own merit essentially. So I think that's where where it comes into play is like it's more of like a kind of a transitionary episode than a standalone one in my opinion.
Yeah, we have Chris Forsyth in the chat. Uh, he agrees with us. He says this one did have dope animation, but the
Yeah.
goofy ass anime antagonist trope though. He doesn't like that. What was up with the guy's hair? Yeah, it is peak anime. That's for sure when it comes to that regard. I'm like, okay, and
Yeah.
it's that type of character. Here we go. Let's fit that
Yeah, I
into
mean
Star
that's
Wars, see how it works. I don't think it worked
yeah.
that well,
That's
but
yeah, I mean that's something like it's just it's anime tropes like the hair, the eyes of characters, the expressions, like that's just how it is for anime. And that's like it's just like the culture of it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting take on Star Wars. And for me, like, I don't know, with all of that, I mean, I
hmm.
have to say, like, 'cause I gave the second episode of the series a 7.5. So for me, I think this is definitely below that personally. Because the second episode, I could rewatch that. Um, so like I would have to say this episode would be man, I don't like I know what they were going for, so like it's hard to like super criticize it because I don't want to crush it. So like to me, I would say like this episode is a this may sound negative, but it's like a positive six. Like if you're rewatching, if you watch the whole season with someone and you want to be like a purist and watch all the episodes, then it's a six. It's fine. But to me, it's not like a rewatchable type episode, like even the second episode of this series is.
We've been doing this show for too long. 213 episodes later, I've been thinking that this was a six for the last 10 minutes. So there you go. I've also giving it a six, not copying you. I've had that locked in my brain. And we're just, again, on the same brainwave. But spoiler alert for next week, this will not be the lowest score I give to a Star Wars Visions
No,
episode.
I haven't even. I'll caveat this to our viewers and listeners as a preview for next week. I haven't even watched episodes 7, 8, and 9 of this series, and everything I've heard universally, completely universally, is the ninth episode is arguably one of the worst things, if not one of the worst things made in this Disney era of Star Wars, if not in terms of just content in general. Like, for example, my buddy Star Wars Santa, he's usually fairly positive when it comes to his views on Star Wars. He leans more positive because he views Star Wars as like, hey, it's entertainment at the end of the day. Let's just like, I want to find and amplify more of the positive than I do the negative. So, like, set the table with that with his opinions. And he said, in his opinion, they should have just deleted this episode from the series and only had 8 episodes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that
gosh.
that's how much Star Wars Santa didn't like it. So when I heard him say that, and he like can really be positive sometimes, I'm like, oh man, I do not know what to even expect for the ninth episode now.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun exercise in reviewing this next week, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Forsyth in the chat definitely has the right idea. I'm not going to say it out loud, but
That's
you might need to be. Let me just put it this way generally. You might need to be inebriated by some substance to maybe enjoy
mm,
it. And
okay.
that's where I'll leave it at that. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm interested to see. I mean, hey, I guess I have that episode to watch this week, or well, all three of those episodes to watch this week. But and then I might because I think Star Wars Life Day is this week, isn't it? Isn't it like the 14th or something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I might. I'm thinking about because I think my girlfriend's coming over to hang out this weekend, and I'm thinking about like making her watch the holiday special.
Oh no,
So,
dude, do you want to like you know, keep
well,
the
because
relationship good because that could get awkward real fast.
well, because see, I'll frame it as like, hey, because she appreciates film and movies and stuff. Like she watches a lot of things. So I'm gonna be like, hey, let's watch this all-time bad classic and
Hmm.
see what she thinks. So I'm gonna see. I'll see if I talk her into it. Because I know one of my other buddies, I think he made his fiance watch it 2 days ago because For some reason, he texted me. Alex, he always listens to this podcast, so he knows what I'm talking about. A couple days ago, like he texted me on Friday night at like 10 o'clock and was like, "Hey, what's your opinion of the holiday special?" And I was like, "Well, it's terrible. It's one of the worst pieces, if not the worst piece of Star Wars content ever. But if you want to be like a real hardcore fan or whatever, you got to watch it at least once in your life at minimum." And he was like, "Okay, thanks, LOL." So I think he was like either having her watch it or one of his other friends watch it or something because he was arguing for it for some reason.
Yeah, Chris is saying when it's this season, you gotta at least watch it once. Yeah, I'll probably put it on
Yep,
at some point, I guess.
there we go.
Oh man.
Holiday special, Visions and Master of Evil. What a great combo.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, tune back next week. We might have a little short review of Master of Evil for all y'all. And we'll be getting into that real fun discourse about that final Visions episode, and who else knows what else might come to us, right? Like, I was really hoping that we would get a Maul Shadow Lord trailer drop because it's like, oh, Visions is out. Let's talk about the next thing. But well, hopefully it comes out this week and we can talk about that too. But anyway, it was a great show. Ben, where can the people follow you and on all your stuff with sports and whatnot going on?
Yeah, you can find me on on X and Instagram talking about football and Star Wars and fitness and criticizing fitness things lately on Twitter. At Real Ben Maynard on both of those platforms. And you can find Milton talking about similar things at Milton Weber 7 on X and Milton 7 Weber on Instagram.
There you go. Yeah, and you can follow me right here, youtube.com/Star Raptor. If you'd prefer to listen to the show on the go, just look up Outer Rim Transmission on any podcast streaming app of your choice. But for Milton, Chris, aka Star Raptor, that's going to do it for episode 213 of Outer Rim Transmission. Thanks for watching, everybody. May the force be with you. End transmission.